Hey guys, so I am back with a new video. So here is the box of goodies that finally came in. It took like forever because of the holidays, but it's here. So let's look inside. So as I open the box, the first thing that I see is the salt and the brine shrimp eggs. Technically, I only paid for the brine shrimp eggs. The seller was nice enough to include the free salt. And here I am seeing the microworm starter culture, which is what I thought I ordered. Well, actually, no, it's what I ordered. The seller was just being super nice to me, and he sent me a full-on mature culture. Like, how freaking awesome of him. And here is this looks like, oh, this is the Grindle worms. They came in this super tiny baggie, but I'm just happy that they got here alive, and that I don't know if any got out. I hope not, even though I didn't find any outside of the bag. And here are these. I did not order, but I don't know if the seller got confused and sent me these and confused my order with someone else, even though I really doubt it. I really think he was just being super nice and sent me this free vinegar eel starter culture, which was super awesome of him, and like that just really sets him apart from the average sellers. And here is what came from that box. So then, like, literally minutes later, this other package arrived, which I also ordered. I just didn't think they would get here at the same time, but they did. And inside is the Superworms. I ordered 500 of them, and honestly, I don't know if it's 500 in there. I obviously didn't take the time to count each and every worm, but oh, look at my baby. He's unboxing with me. He really liked the smell of the bedding that the worms came in, and he kept trying to eat it. Weird. So yeah, I'm really happy with these worms. They came in really huge and fat, and I don't know, like lately the worms that I've been buying locally have just been like in really bad shape, really thin and dehydrated. I don't know. So that's why I decided to just buy a really big amount online. Yeah. So they came in this bedding. I'm not sure what they were using. And look at how big these worms are, like, you guys. Well, I don't know, I guess I'm just used to mealworms, and these superworms just feel huge to me. But yeah, so here is everything. And now to set them up. So the first thing I set up was the microworms. What I did was just grind it up, some oats, you know, I just put them in the blender, and this is what came of that. But you can also use like the whole oats. You don't have to blend them. It's just something that I do for my mealworms anyway, so I have this around all the time, and that's just what I decided to use. So I just take a few spoonfuls of it and place it in this bowl to mix some aged water in there. This is just water from my goldfish setups, but you can use drinking water, that'll work too. So I just mixed in there enough water until it formed this paste looking stuff, and that is what the worms will feed off, well actually no, they don't feed off of this, they feed off of the yeast that we're gonna sprinkle on top, but we aren't there yet. So yeah, just I layered on like a inch and a half of it in the very bottom of this jar, and to the lid I just poked some holes with a nail. And here I'm just placing some quilting batting over the holes, well, through the holes, to keep bugs out. So I'm starting a new culture from this existing culture, so I just took a spoonful of the media in that culture, and simply I'm just going to add it onto the new culture that I'm starting. And now I'm just kind of gently spreading it out just to give the worms a head start. Then I just screwed on the lid. I didn't have any yeast on hand, so I went to go purchase it later after this video. So this is a few hours later after I went to the store, and now I'm just sprinkling literally like just a small pinch of it at the very top. And that's it. So for the Grindle worms, all I did was just take this little plastic storage bin, and I'm using quilting batting instead of soiled. You know, I really wanted to have a soilless culture, you know, less messy. So here I am just damping it with some aged water, which is of course from the goldfish setup. And I just squeezed it through the quilting batting to make sure that it all dampened pretty evenly. So after that, I just took the Grindle worm starter culture, and literally it's super easy. I just spread it over the quilting batting and the worms will find their way in there. Next, I just took some turtle pellets and I'm just kind of spreading a few throughout the container. And I didn't have a spray bottle. Well, I do have one, but I have no idea where it is. So I'm just using my hands to soak the pellets so that the worms can eat them. And this is just a plastic lid from a deli container. I'm placing it over the food, and that is where I will harvest the worms from when it's time to harvest. And that's it. That is all I had to do for these guys. So for the vinegar eels, well, you know, these guys weren't planned, but luckily I had everything here at home that I needed to set them up. It's actually really simple to set them up. I just took some apple cider vinegar and again another one of these glass jars. I didn't have a whole bunch of vinegar around. I only had enough to fill the jar up halfway, but that is enough for now. So after that, I just took the vinegar eels starter culture thing and I just simply dumped them in there. And of course there's like a bunch of them left in the bag, and I was not about to let those go to waste, so I just took some water, again aged water from my goldfish setup, and I'm just adding it in the baggie and shaking it around to get all the worms in there, and into the jar they go. And I repeated it one more time just to make sure I got them all. And it's okay to mix water in with the vinegar. I believe you can do up to a 50-50 ratio. I was more comfortable with doing 1 part water to 3 parts vinegar. And this is just a slice of apple. And that's it. Screw on the lid and that is it. It's really simple to set these guys up, and I really recommend you guys have one of these cultures around. They last forever. Once you have a culture, you'll always have a culture. and it's super handy to have around. So to set the Superworms up, I just took a whole bag of oats and I heated them up on the skillet in the stove to, I guess, sterilize it and make sure there's no little bugs on them. So after they've cooled down, I transferred the oats over to another one of these plastic storage bins and I just evened them out, and I added, this is totally optional, but here I'm just adding some calcium powder and some turtle pellets. This is just to up the nutritional value of the worms. You know, whatever you feed your feeders, you are feeding to your pets, so don't be cheap. So this is just a little lid, and I like to use it between the bedding and the veggies so that the oats don't get moldy. So the oats are the food and the whatever veggie you use will be the water source. So what I did with the worms was I just shook off the bedding that they came in during the shipping, because obviously that is just full of poop and I don't want that in the tub. And into the tub they go. I just love watching them burrow. I don't know why. And here we go with container number 2. So then I just placed the lid on top, and that is that. So here is the Superworm bin, the Grindle worm bin, which is doing awesome. There's a bunch of worms everywhere. I didn't realize just how many worms there were in there until, you know, I fed them. They all just kind of came out. So here's the mature microworm culture doing amazing. I mixed in some new oats to kind of refreshen it, and I also added some yeast. And here is my new culture, which is just crawling with worms already. And here is the vinegar eel culture. I don't know if you guys can really see the little tiny worms in there. They're like microscopic. They're hard to see in person, so I doubt you guys will be able to see them here. So yeah, here is a clip of Little One, because I know you guys haven't seen Little One in a while, and some of you guys have been asking for Little One. So here is Little One. And here is the toad. For you guys who have been asking me about her, she's huge. I say that every time I show her. So yeah, I tried getting a feeding clip of her, but she just does not eat outside of her enclosure. I tried here really hard to get her to eat that worm, and no, she hates being out of her enclosure. So yeah, but here she is. Oh, and for the brine shrimp, I'm sorry, I totally forgot about them. So I just set up this hatchery, and so I've just been hatching them out. Here they are. Here's a few close-up shots of them. So I've been feeding them off to some goldfish fry. That's the whole reason why I bought them in the first place. Actually, I've been feeding them the brine shrimp and the microworms. So yeah, that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will talk to you guys in the next video. Bye! So here I'm just dumping them out and multiply. In a few months, the number of worms will double and triple.